It's Manny, Carrera, your real estate resource, and this is episode number 8 of Whiskey Wednesday podcast sessions, where we sit with entrepreneurs, influencers, movers, and shakers over a glass of some fine whiskey. Today's guest, we're going to be sitting with business owner, entrepreneur, our first female interviewee. She's also a writer, a baker, and a lady boss. Give it up for our special guest, Maggie Asfahani. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for stopping by. We're going to be drinking some whiskey today. Maggie doesn't drink whiskey straight.
No.
Right? So she mixed it with some club soda. But today we're actually going to be drinking, and you could actually announce the name of this bottle.
Glenmorangie.
Glenmorangie from
highly single malt Scotch whiskey.
Yeah, and this is actually the sherry cask finish, La Santa, and this is 12-year. What do you think about it?
It's delicious.
It's delicious,
smooth.
even with the club soda?
No, very much so. It just makes it a little more refreshing.
Really?
Yeah.
I like it straight. So
I have to get back to my kids, so I don't want to.
Yeah, okay. I don't. Probably gonna keep drinking whiskey after this. As for every Wednesday.
I'm responsible for,
yeah, I know,
for your
right? So I'm really excited to have you on our episode. Again, you're our first female interviewee. We've said it in the last couple episodes that we really want to have, a female entrepreneur, somebody that's really making a big splash here in the city. And, I'm really excited that we ran into you last week.
Well,
we were
thank you.
actually eating at your restaurant, which we're going to talk about in a sec. Mm-hmm. Really good, by the way. So,
Thank you.
Really excited to have you on. Why don't we start by you kind of introducing yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself for all the viewers here on iTunes and on YouTube.
Well, I've lived in El Paso all of my life. I was born in California. We moved here when I was about 3. My family is from Lebanon. My degrees have nothing to do at all with cooking or restauranting or business or anything. I did my undergrad and master's here at UTEP. My undergrad was in political science and my master's is in communication. I studied the effects of culture on conflict in marriage. Very exciting stuff. So
tell me a little bit about the effects of culture and the study of marriage.
Well, what I was originally looking at was to see if people processed conflicts differently, whether they were Anglo or Hispanic. That's what my study was on. And so, the results were inconclusive. It was just because, and I didn't know if it's because people maybe who were more Anglo were. So what I did was base the study on something called individualism and collectivism. So typically there are some cultures that are more individualistic, so they're more about themselves and the individual rather than collectivistic, which you think of as more typically Hispanic. So family-oriented, that kind of thing. But so I couldn't see if there wasn't as much of a difference because people had become acculturated. So even if you're more individualistic, if you live in a collectivistic society, you might
adapt,
just
or
adapt.
You kind of
but
pull some traits from them,
exactly.
Right? Okay.
But interviewing people was super interesting, and even though I wasn't doing psychology, I felt like a therapist because people, their marital problems were very, very heavy. I had a lady whose husband almost ran over her.
Wow.
Somebody who's just.
Love's a crazy thing.
It is a crazy thing, and all I've got to say is brincas and alcohol do not mix.
Brinca. Is it the regular brinca or the ones with the boxing gloves?
I think any of them, because there's the typical, party where it's just at the beginning it's like the kids, and then it turns into like the adult party after then the adults get into the brinca.
Right.
It's like not.
Oh yeah, the adults, and then just all you need is one adult to fall into the net, and the entire thing just roll over.
You'd be surprised how many people I talked to where there were like these fights that started at a party and then so
I think that happens everywhere. Not even just in clubs. You don't need a brinca. I think it's just alcohol.
Exactly, but the brinca doesn't help. It's the family dynamic. They're like, your mother told me. No.
Wow. So college, you graduated here, UTEP.
I graduated here at UTEP, and then my previous career I did freelance writing and editing, and then my last job was I was the editor of What's Up, the entertainment weekly that's with the El Paso Inc. that is now sadly no longer, but has transformed into something else.
I remember What's Up.
What's Up. So I did that.
You were writing
and I was the editor of What's Up for a couple of years. And then,
so you have a lot going on because not only are you an entrepreneur, business owner, but you're also a writer, right? So you tell us a little bit about what you did previous. What other kind of writing jobs or journeys did you have before this?
Journeys that I had before this. It was just, being mostly a freelance writer, and being a mom to my 2 girls. I have twins. They're 15 now. So that's a lot.
Twins.
Yeah, twin girls.
How was that? I dated a twin in the middle. It's a funny story.
I'm like, is this family friendly?
So I dated. Yeah, it was in middle school. So it's you're my girlfriend type of thing, and that was it. It was just a title, but it was funny because she was in 8th grade. I was in 7th grade. And her name was Cindy, and her sister was Summer. They were identical, like to the point where I liked Cindy. I was dating her, but I could never tell which one was which. So
I was like, I don't know where this is going.
So after class, we would always meet by the Coke machines in some hallway, right? Mm-hmm. And I would purposely go, and I would have to hide behind a Coke machine until both of them were there. Because I would see one there, but I would be like, I don't know if that's my girlfriend or is that the sister? Like, should I go and kiss this girl? Because if I kiss her, am I kissing the sister? Hilarious. So I would wait until both would show up, and then I would start walking slowly until they'd make eye contact with me and see which one came at me, and then I'd be like, this is Cindy.
Cindy and Summer, if you're watching this, I am sorry.
Cindy broke up with me.
Sorry.
Because I kissed her sister. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. That didn't happen.
Did they take tests for each other or anything?
I don't know if they did.
Let's hear about that. My twins are fraternal, so there's no.
So is there kind of that connectivity too? Do they have that? Where one feels one thing, one feels another?
I don't know if it's like that, but they definitely have. When they're getting along, they're very sympathetic to each other and very much understand each other. But they are very, very different.
Really?
And I like that about them. I mean, I think that's always. I think it's been an asset to them growing up because even though people call them the twins, sometimes they're still very, very different. Yeah, and they're very, very different. Yeah. So it's kind of funny because it's like my personality, which is kind of intense, split into two very intense personalities. So it's kind of funny. It's like, why are you acting this way? Oh, recall myself at the age of 15.
That's why.
Yeah, karma, it exists. So that's what I like to say. Yeah, it does.
My mom feels like that about my sister too. So karma does exist.
It does. It does.
So what else do you have going on?
That's not enough.
Obviously, well, no, I mean, because I know there's more. So you graduated UTEP. You did a little writing as well, and you're still doing writing? Are you still
not as much anymore because it's just the business takes up so much time. It's something that I'm definitely missing and something that I want to get back to doing.
Definitely. So. That's awesome. Is it more of a therapeutic type of thing for you, or is it just kind of a way of...
It can be. It depends what kind of writing it is. If it's something more personal and you're doing fiction, then it is definitely more therapeutic. But what I miss about being at a newspaper is the kind of like interacting with people. Although I'm interacting with people now, I interacted in a different way. You get to hear people's stories more personally, go out and do interviews with people, and you just... It's just different. It's just different, and I miss that sometimes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, going back, how long ago was this that you did work at the El Paso Times?
At the El Paso Ink, it was. I think I left about 2 years ago now. In 2016. Where do
you see kind of the attention going as far as people consuming or purchasing newspaper rather than social blogs or things like that? Do you see more attention kind of veering off? Did you see more attention kind of veering off when you were there at El Paso, at the Ink?
I think so, but I think it's something that all newspapers and all kind of print media are struggling with right now. And I think the best ones, what they can do is kind of supplement the print product with any kind of social media and kind of, because there's always, especially older people, and like, there's nothing to compare to holding an actual newspaper in your hands.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have Twitter and all that kind of stuff so that you can just get something quickly.
Right,
If you just want to know what the latest news is.
A lot more, yeah, but
sitting over the paper on a Sunday, nothing's going to replace that. Like sitting over your tablet, it's just like the same thing.
It's like, we'll make America
scrolling
great. Through your picture America on a Sunday, just everybody.
With their coffee and
reading the comics and all that.
Or those kids. Well, that was child labor, so that wasn't good. But those kids on the streets that were like extra, with the little hat.
That was child labor. They were at least 8 years old.
Yeah, right.
And bikes.
Hey, at least they were working.
Yeah, right. And isn't that crazy that nowadays you don't see that too much?
No.
You see more people just video gaming it up.
Right.
Fortnite. Is that what it's called?
Fortnite. I don't understand this Fortnite thing. That's a huge craze, but
I mean, it sounds interesting. It sounds cool. I don't know how to type it.
It's hard.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the business. I know the business is what your life,
every
right?
thought,
Yeah.
every action.
So tell me, give me in depth. What is Salt and Honey Bakery and Cafe? Where did you guys start? What is the idea and concept behind it? Because for those of you that haven't gone yet, I mean, this place is freaking awesome. On top of just the decor and the way it looks, the vibe that you get right away. I mean, it feels like you're out of town. I kind of get like an Austin vibe. And it feels really cool just to kind of escape. I love those little hidden gems in El Paso that you walk in and right away you just feel like you're out of the city, So tell me a little bit about Salt and Honey.
Well, let's go back to when I was a wee child. I've always wanted to have a restaurant, even when I was younger. Since I was about 10 or 11 years old, I've always loved cooking. My family in Lebanon has a restaurant and have had it for many, many years, probably, I'd say more than a century at this point, through the family. And so my parents were very, very discouraging of me getting into the business because it's a very, very difficult business. So I did went to college, did all of that, but I couldn't let it go. I used to, when I was younger, cut out recipes from magazines and then put them in these binders with the old photo,
so like your cookbook.
Like my own cookbooks. And so I still have all of those, and I had all these subscriptions to cooking magazines and things, and it was just always in my heart and in my head. And then just in the last few years, an opportunity came up where I would be able to have a space in that building, and I just thought, you know what, I wanted to do this my whole life. I'm just going to go for it.
That's
so
awesome.
I decided to go for it. So
it's always been that passion. It's always been something behind you, even after going to UTEP and getting your degree in political
something
science.
That I've always, something that I've
deep
always.
down.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So where did the concept come from? Because I know walking in, it really kind of just, the restaurant itself kind of takes you away from the city, like I said. So where does the concept come from with Salt and Honey?
Well, I've had a lot of opportunity. Thankfully, I feel really blessed to be able to travel quite a bit. And so some of my favorite places that I've been is, like, London is one of my favorite cities in the world. And I love London. It's just, it's just so close to my heart. And Sydney also. And Sydney especially, they have a very robust brunch culture in Sydney. It's a very sunny city. You see people all the time in cafes, and the food is very fresh, and it's kind of like LA also in a way, but it's still like more beachy and more, there's something about Australia that's still like very pure and very, they're very connected to nature. And so I just love that. And I wanted to bring something here that was different than, your typical, we have a lot of great restaurants, a lot of great local places, but I just wanted something that was a little bit different, something that encompassed my heritage of, being from the Middle East and then living in El Paso all of my life. So I wanted kind of that vibe. And that's a compliment I get a lot, is that people say they don't feel like they're in El Paso, but at the same time, I hope to stop hearing that soon, because El Paso is really stepping up its game. And so I hope that it's kind of a trend that'll continue, and that people will be like, it won't, I always want to stand out, but maybe not in that way, if that makes sense. Right. Because I'm like, well, this is in El Paso, so El Pasoans are doing great things. El Paso is great. We have a hidden gem. I never want to be in Austin. No offense to Austin, but the traffic is terrible. Like, it's, prices are high. And
El Paso is such a beautiful city, and I think it's so just under. I mean, from all the people that live here too, people just don't really see how big this city is and how big it's getting, and how and the direction that it's heading right now with businesses like yours, and that's just to kind of say that your business and all the other businesses, and you're hearing it a lot because it's just so different from what El Paso's always been used to, and this is what people have been craving. Like, people for the longest time, even before I moved to Miami, I was always craving, those types of restaurants and bars and just attractions that felt like our own, something that we can call our own. And I think that's why people refer to other cities, because they haven't seen it here. It's only in Austin that they've seen it, in Arizona. But yeah, I mean, I think overall, you have a really good idea going for what you have right now. I love the location too.
Thank you.
Yeah, right on the corner of What was the cross sections?
Piedras and Yandel.
Well,
it's like really
right off the
I-10, but
yeah,
right
we're
off the
literally
I-10.
off seconds off.
Across the street from Coconuts. Everybody knows where Coconuts is.
The dirty coconuts. I love coconuts. I was actually there last Sunday, the Sunday before.
You know, it's so funny, but like 90% of the people, depending on age, if you're older, then not so much, but 90% of the people are like, do you know where Coconuts is? Oh, yeah. Right across the street.
Honestly, that place is really, really chill. Like, you go and everybody's just hanging out, having some drinks, and it's a really cool environment. You don't ever see people fighting there or arguing, I
just see people in, like, not this Cinco de Mayo, but last year I remember we had just barely been open, and there were people who had been partying. They were wearing these giant sombreros outside. It's like 7 in the morning. All right.
Are
you hungry? Come on over after.
So you have coconuts there. You have 1/8 right there too.
Dewey's, JBB.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of clientele are you getting in your business right now? Because of that area, does that affect the type of clientele you're getting, or what kind of clients are you getting in Sultan?
I'd like to think that the location is attracting a wide variety of people because we get all kinds of people. We get students who are studying, we get couples who are on dates, we get military, there's the police station, realtors, the police station across the street, just all kinds of people. Right. On the weekends it's a lot of families, people who like to brunch, and we try to be really family friendly also so that people can, I have kids, I want people to feel comfortable and not feel like it's too inaccessible. We have a changing table, we have high chairs. We want to make sure that people, if they want to come with their families, can have a nice experience.
Yeah, I definitely felt a family vibe walking in there, but I also felt, also like a Starbucks vibe where you can go and study there and kind of disconnect.
Right.
And also, I actually told my friend, hey bro, take your girlfriend to Sultan Honey. It's a really cool place. I really liked it. The fries are, the honey fries?
Yeah, the Sultan Honey fries.
Sultan Honey fries, yeah. So, obviously, Sultan Honey, the name, Sultan Honey, a lot of the menu I feel had or was inspired with a little bit of honey. You're wearing a dress with some bees, so where does the inspiration or is this kind of like your spirit animal?
My spirit animal right now. I had to wear the bees to represent. No, I've always loved bees because bees are, well, the queen bee, first of all, of course. Bee. But bees are industrious, they're small, but they're fighters. Yeah. They get in there, and honey is sweet, and so all those things. And then the salt and honey is because we do savory and sweet, but also there are things that are from the earth, like MSG and corn syrup doesn't have quite the same thing to it. So, and we always have we make everything from scratch in the restaurant. All our pastries are from scratch. Everything there is from scratch, and so we wanted to give the impression of something that was just earthy and natural. And, yeah,
that's cool. I feel like even the decor with the hexagon,
the honeycomb, and
the honeycomb shape. Yeah, it really feels like you're even walking in a honeycomb,
right?
Kind of. But no, it's a really cool setup. I love what you guys have going on over there. So you guys have a little bit of everything, right? You have some food. You guys do breakfast. You guys do lunch.
We do.
I saw obviously you have the baked goods as well, all fresh. And then you have coffee.
We do. Our coffee is from. Our espresso is from 210, and they're local, and they're just around the corner from us, and it's delicious coffee.
I've heard of 210.
Yeah, they're really, really good. And so we try to support local when we can.
That's awesome.
We try to support local when we can.
That's awesome. I see that trend with a lot of our interviewees, even a lot of our local business owners, they stay local. How important is staying local to you or supporting local?
It's extremely important because the way that I see it and something that we hashtag sometimes is community over competition, because I feel like when we help each other we all grow.
Yeah.
Instead of if you spend your energy fighting people and trying to come out on top in that way, nobody's ever going to win. But we can all of us, that there's enough customers for everybody. Right. There's enough people who are looking for different things to do and different places to eat. And so anytime on my personal account, at least if I go to different restaurants that are local, I try to promote them. I try to, because we all win. You saw my Whataburger promotion. Local. Yeah. I was feeling a little emo in that one. I actually had somebody call me. He was like, "Are you okay?" You'll have to check it out to see, because
you guys, where can we find it? Where can we follow you? That way you
on
guys
my personal, it's at Maggie Asfahani, but it's everybody's like really emo funny. Maggie, but I was just feeling the feels, looking at night. But no, we have to support each other, because we still in the end are a small community, even though we're big in size, we're still small in spirit, and so it's still kind of like a village in spirit. And so when anybody trashes a local business, like, and that's something that I want to tell anybody who's listening or viewing. If you have something, you go to a place, especially if it's a local business, and you have a bad experience, seek somebody out and talk to them, and do not immediately go to Facebook and just trash the business, because you're affecting people. You're affecting people's livelihoods, people's everything. If there's a legitimate concern, those concerns should be heard. And if you're not taken care of by the establishment, then for sure go out and I think make yourself heard. But
I think what people don't understand, and it took me a while to understand too, because I would catch myself getting mad, but then it's at the same time like everybody's human, and even you as a business owner and everybody working there, everybody's human, and somebody can be having a bad day and give you not so great service, or maybe there happen to be a hair in your food. But I mean, I think it's more on how the business handles the situation, not so much of what happened and then you react to it, if something happened where the food wasn't good or the service wasn't great and you made a complaint or talked to the manager, I'm sure they would address it.
Right, like how can we fix it? Nobody wants you to have a bad experience. I mean, that would be kind of screwed up if you're and especially because we're on the local level, you have access to the owner. You can come and talk to me, or send me an email, and I'll figure out how to fix it for you. So
definitely.
Yeah.
So, before you guys make complaints, or before you guys go to Facebook
come
or Yelp,
to me. Not that you should be complaining, because we're amazing. Like,
Salt and Honey,
complaints, but in case your coffee's a little cold.
Definitely. I think definitely support local. That's the best thing to do, and that's how we're gonna see our city grow to the size that we want it to be. Everybody that's been here for the last 15 years, you may not be noticing the change, but it kind of took me stepping out of the city and then stepping back into the city to see, because I feel like maybe if I stayed here and I didn't leave, I wouldn't have really noticed how much growth was happening.
It's tremendous. It's tremendous.
It's insane. It's really insane.
There's enough to go around for everybody, but support your local businesses.
Definitely. The business owner and owner of Salt and Honey Bakery Cafe. For those of you that haven't gone yet, you guys are missing out. I just went 2 weeks ago, had some falafel. It was freaking bomb. It was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, so right now we're talking a little bit about her story. Maggie here, and she's sharing her story. We're talking a little bit about the business, what kind of Salt and Honey is about, the concept. It's a really awesome place. We're talking a little bit about how different it is here in El Paso to have something like this. But again, it's still El Paso. It's something that we could definitely claim here in the city. So tell us a little bit more about the business. What kinds of foods do you guys offer? What is the menu like? I know you are from Lebanon, right?
Yes, my family is from there.
Your family's from Lebanon. So does that have a influence on the business or the menu as well?
For sure.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So we have the falafel, for sure. That's my dad's recipe. Thanks, Dad, for that. We have an avocado toast. It's a hummus avocado toast, which is like super popular.
That's the one I couldn't decide whether I should get the
next time
falafel or the hummus.
Yeah,
toast.
it's super
next time
popular.
I'm gonna try that one.
Yeah. So there's definitely a Lebanese twist to it, but also a border twist, because we're here in El Paso and we have our tacos borrachos and our brisket torta now, our new items, and they're really, really good.
Sounds fun.
Braised in beer. The brisket's braised in beer. It's super delicious.
Really?
Yeah. And then the tacos have our hash browns in them. So we have these hash browns that everybody loves. Everybody always orders extra hash browns. Have you had the hash browns yet?
No.
They're like these poblano.
I did.
They're good, right?
Super
I had we had the Salt and Honey French fries. Those were amazing.
So I have to give a shout out to Tara Livingston from Nosh, if you're listening, especially for the idea for the hash browns. So they have roasted poblano in them and cheese. So they're
What time do you guys
delicious.
close? Because we're gonna go eat right now. Anyway,
well, we're closed on Mondays, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday our kitchen closes at 2, but we're open till 4. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we're open later. We're open for dinner on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So you guys have breakfast, you guys have lunch, and then on Friday, Saturday, Sunday you guys have dinner.
So we have the menu is available all day. So if you want eggs in the middle, well, not the middle of the night, but like for dinner. You can come over and have eggs for dinner too.
Awesome.
So.
If you guys have been to Salt and Honey, drop your favorite dish on the menu or anything that you've tried, because you guys also have baked goods.
Yeah,
right?
So we make our baked goods in-house, and just we try to do things that are a little bit different. And so right now, for example, we're doing, for this season, strawberry scones. We have our honey lavender scones. We have a hummingbird cake that's super delicious, sells out like very, very quickly. We do pies, tarts. It just depends on what the whim of the day is. But we do all kinds of fun things too. So.
And how often does that change, or that, you know, you said seasons, or kind of depends on
well,
the
it just depends on kind of
is that something that you kind of give your chefs, like, hey?
Yeah, and I do the baking, some of the baking myself too, because
awesome.
I love baking, and so I'll come up with ideas, or I'll tell the pastry chef to, like, can you do this? Like we had last week, and I think we'll do it again this week, strawberry rhubarb tartlets, and they were so good.
Really?
They're just super good.
Quick?
Yeah, they go quick. So
what's the most popular baked good that you've had ever?
At our place, I think that probably, like, the hummingbird cake is really, really popular, and our bear claws. Like, the people love the bear claws. Yeah, because it's all buttery and just the almond. It's like so good. It's good with a cup of coffee, like warmed up. So yeah, that's.
I'm
good.
starving. Are you guys starving? I'm like for real. I'm already hungry, and I don't think this was a good idea. So cool. So tell us a little bit about what's next for Salt and Honey, or what's next for you.
Wait, what's the Mr. Burns like? I don't know. Just building. Like we have a lot of ideas in the works, and yeah, just follow us and stay posted. Right now we just recently started doing dinner just a few weeks ago, and so that's going really well. And then we'll see what's next. I have been approached so many times to open other locations, but I don't know about that.
Have you thought about that? Because I know right now, I could tell you for sure, as a realtor, the growth that's happening right now in the city. There's growth all around the city. East side, west side.
Right.
But I think definitely in the far east side is where a lot of growth is happening. Do you ever see yourself kind of expanding out there?
It's tempting, but honestly, like, our location is super, super special. It's in a building that's 100 years old. We have the original tile in the building, the exposed brick, and you can't replicate that in another location.
Especially on the east side.
Everything's brand new. So I could maybe in the future consider maybe a different kind of concept, or like a spin-off or something like that. But it's just so special. And then my brother is an architect. He's Root Architect, so follow them also. And then he's the one that did my space, and so I have to.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think he was there the day that we were there.
Maybe, yeah. He was at the bar.
And you said that, hey, there's some architects and engineers here.
I go to talk to them too. So I give a lot of credit to him for putting up with me and agreeing to be paid in sandwiches. I regret that decision.
But they were good hummus sandwiches.
Yes.
Hummus avocado.
He's like, I'm just bringing 50 people over, and I'm like, okay. No, I'm just kidding. No, he's great. Yeah, here's your sandwiches. No, he's great. But it's really because of, that we're very complimentary in our vision and what we want to do for El Paso. Awesome. And he's done a lot of great work in El Paso also. So we're really, really big supporters of the city.
That's awesome. Yeah. And we were talking about it just right now. El Paso is just one of these cities that's emerging right now.
Right.
And so many businesses like yours are coming up in the city, and they're really kind of giving the city a little bit more character, I feel. And I love it. I love what you're doing,
Thank you.
at Salt and Honey. So for those of you that haven't checked it out, make sure you guys do stop by. Address, or how can people find Salt and Honey? Where is it located?
It's at 801 North Piedras. It is right across the street from Coconuts, which I'm sure you all know where it is, in a green building.
All you guys know.
All you guys know where Coconuts is.
Every single one of you guys. What's up, Ryan, X-Men, Marcus, Jesse, Roxanne? What's up, guys?
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in.
So if you guys have any questions for our guest, entrepreneur Maggie Asfahani.
It's a lot of A's.
There's a lot of A's. And we're drinking whiskey. So
we are drinking whiskey.
Can't blame me.
I'm not drinking that much.
I'm on my second glass. So talk to us a little bit about entrepreneurship. So obviously, starting the business, was it always successful as soon as the doors open, or how was that process kind of, from the moment you guys opened doors to today?
Okay. Entrepreneurship is probably the scariest thing I've ever done, except for raising twin teen girls, which is maybe scarier. But you never know what's going to happen. You can be super prepared. You can have all your ducks lined up in a row, and you don't know what's going on. But I have been very lucky that since the day that we opened, we've been welcomed with loving arms into the community, and some of it is luck, and some of it is preparation, and
right.
there's some of it is just magic.
Yeah.
Unicorns and
fairy dust.
But we just try. I think that one of the things that we really try to do is focus on customer service, on the food being really fresh, on just making it a really good experience for people, and that helping people respond to that, and they have.
How important to you do you think is word of mouth?
It's extremely important, and that's why. Another reason we try always, every single day, every day that we open our doors is like a fresh start. It's like it's like our first day, because you don't know who's coming in. You don't know if there's people who are coming in who's their first time, and you want that experience to be super, super special to them. So, yeah, and people talk. They'll tell their friends if it's good, and they'll tell their friends if it's bad. So you want it to be good, so they tell them the good things.
Yeah, definitely, right? So you talked a little bit about preparation. A lot of it was preparation, some fairy dust, some magic stuff, and some luck,
Right.
Starting a business, I know a lot of times some people are short of luck, So it really comes down to either they were prepared or had a game plan or not, So what was the biggest lesson for you in getting prepared to start your own business?
Well, I think that... First of all, I think everybody is lucky, honestly, but it's just if we recognize the point where that luck is coming, because sometimes we're too wrapped up in ourselves or our own problems where we don't see the opportunities that are in front of us.
It's all about point of view.
Right. How you choose to perceive it. Now after I got that, I forgot what the question. You asked what the biggest challenge was.
Yeah. So what was the biggest challenge? I mean, you said you a lot of preparation was done.
Yeah.
So leading up to that preparation, was there a lesson that you had to go through, or was there some sort of failure that you had to kind of go through in order to learn, like, hey, I have to prepare, and this is how we have to structure it, and this is what we have to do before we actually open doors?
There's all kinds of little, thankfully, thank God, I haven't had any major problems. But as you go through the construction process, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that I needed that permit, and that's another several $1,000s. And you're like, oh, I didn't budget for that. And, oh, what am I going to do? Where am I going to get the money? Or, maybe employees who didn't work out, or, just kinds of that. You just have to roll with the punches. And I think part of being a successful entrepreneur is being able to roll with those punches and not getting discouraged, and figuring out, I think also it's really important that if you don't know something, seek out somebody who knows and ask them, and don't be afraid to ask questions, because you're not doing yourself any favors. You think, oh, I don't want to be embarrassed, but it's more embarrassing to do something wrong because you didn't ask, and to fail because of your own pride.
Right. And a lot of people have that pride. Pride kills, not only kills relationships, it kills businesses, it kills everything. It's
understandable, because it's embarrassing to be like, I'm doing this project, I'm doing all this stuff, but I don't know, like, who do I ask about this? Just ask. So there are no stupid questions.
Did you have somebody that played that role in your life that you were able to ask and kind of go to for advice?
Yeah, there were several people, and I would give probably Tara again. Hi, Tara. From Nosh was a big one, because she opened her restaurant. She was ahead of me in the process, and gave me a lot of good advice. Michelle and Mustafa Rifai from Block Table and Tap. They're instrumental in.
So we have a question from Alex Ontiveros.
Hi, Alex.
Hey, Alex. She's out in Florida.
Yep. She asked if you delivered those pastries to Florida, but the question was, what's one thing you wished you would have known at the beginning, and the advice is geared towards new entrepreneurs?
That's kind of hard to say, because I feel like, on one hand, you want to say, if I wish I knew how hard it was going to be, but I'm kind of glad I didn't know how hard it was going to be, because I might not have done it. So there is nothing maybe that I wish that I knew. No, yeah, because sometimes you can shoot yourself in the foot if you know too much.
Yeah.
So it's better almost not to know.
Explain that.
Well, because if you know, like, for example, if I knew how hard it was going to be, or some of the challenges that I was going to face, like, you can get scared off pretty easily. It's really easy to talk yourself down or into a frenzy. Like, all of us have our insecurities, all of us have our doubts about things, and you want to build yourself up. So always seek out the people that will build you up, read things that'll build you up. It's natural to focus on the negative and what could go wrong, but just don't spend a lot of time there, because
there's wrong in everything, you know.
Right.
But I think what you said right now kind of hit it on the head. Is it's all about your point of view and seeing the good in everything. And a lot of times people don't see, you know, how good it is that they have it. They're just focusing on the little couple bad things that, you know, shouldn't really have a big effect on somebody's life. But yeah, I mean, what you're saying right now is totally true. If you do know how hard it would have been, you know, that probably could have scared the shit out of you from even starting Salt and Honey.
There's some days, you know, where I'm like, even when we were starting dinner, because it's hiring more people, and then you're already set in a system. You're like, it's working, it's going pretty good, I have all these people, everything is in place, and you're like, okay, what's the next step? And you're like, oh my God, we're going to have new people, and what if those people aren't good, and what if this, and what if people don't come, and what if, but you can't. It's good to think about those things to be prepared, but don't let it prevent you from reaching for the stars.
Yeah.
That's me reaching for the stars.
And they're up there, so they're right there. So that's super interesting. You know, kind of going on to this subject, what, and I want to word this right. So, as a woman business owner, you know, are there any struggles that you felt you had to go through being a woman that maybe, you know, a male business owner wouldn't have had to go through? Or do you feel like that even exists here in El Paso? Is El Paso, even though it's a small city,
right,
you know, does that exist where it's a little tougher for a woman business owner to start up or to make it compared to a guy? Because I know there's a stigma out there.
Right.
You know?
I can only speak for myself, so I'm not going to give. I can't blatantly say, you know, for every woman that's trying to go into business, especially here in El Paso. For myself, I did not feel hindered in any way by being a woman in El Paso. I don't know what the excuse for that is. I think that El Paso is a really welcoming city compared to a lot of other places. Everybody that I worked with, male or female, was extremely helpful, extremely welcoming. I did not feel talked down to in any way. I did not feel, and I don't know if, because we have a predominantly, this is just me like being an armchair psychologist, because we have a primarily Hispanic culture, the Hispanic culture is very based on like the female, like the mother.
I think very respectful.
You know,
very respectful towards the female.
To a female.
Because I was actually raised like that, like open the doors, pull out the chair.
And so I don't know. I personally, I didn't feel anything. I think that any of the internal, it's more like an internal struggle, because just being a woman in society in general, that you want to come across as authoritative without being. You know,
right, like you feel like you have something.
Everybody has been just amazing. So I don't want to say it's been an easy road. Like, oh, it was all great, but I didn't, because I think like dealing with contractors, dealing with any kind of vendors, like I never felt talked down to. And I think that that's a very, very, it might be just a very El Paso thing. Everybody's been very respectful, and one of the reasons I love this city. Yeah, the city is, and you actually really do get to feel, you know, the type of people that are here in the city. Especially when you go out of town, because I know when I moved to Florida, my first freaking week, I was so confused with life. I didn't know who was yelling at me or not, because there's so many Cubans and Colombians over there, and they would come to my store and they would like, you know, like, oye, coño, eh, and they would start yelling at me and like yell at me, and I'm from El Paso, where everybody, like, if you make eye contact with anybody, you nod or you acknowledge them. It's disrespectful to walk by somebody, make eye contact, and just like it's kind of weird. It's like awkward, you know. So I feel like everybody here is so respectful. And when I went over there, I got a huge wake up call. Like, I realized right away, the one thing that I'm gonna miss the most in El Paso was not Chico's or Whataburger, but the people. It was the people, because the people here in El Paso, I think, are such a different breed. You have. And now, you can't. I don't think you could have said this 8 years ago, but now I feel like El Paso's becoming
somewhat of a melting pot. You're having a lot of different cultures. A lot of it's due to the military, but you have so many different people that are coming from the military, for the military, and then finish the military and end up staying and having their families here, and you know. So I really love the direction that El Paso is going. I think it's amazing. But yeah, I think knowing and realizing the types of people that are here, it's real, you know?
Yeah, it is. And we have people like from all over. Now we have Vietnamese restaurants. We had, I don't know if it's still open, a Nigerian restaurant, because we had a pretty sizable, actually, Nigerian.
I've seen an Argentinian steakhouse.
You know, so.
You got Colombian over, Nicaraguan, you got a lot of stuff.
I ate at a Colombian restaurant not too long ago. It was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to one too. We had some fritanga. It was pretty good. It was delicious. Yeah,
now I'm hungry.
We're all hungry. We're going to go to Salt and Honey right now. Cut in on this. I think that's super important with any business, especially once you do get to that certain point where you're getting busy and becoming successful and seeing that traction and momentum growing. I think having a balance, especially in real estate too, I think it's super hard, but it's something that's very, very necessary. So how does that affect, you know, you, and how do you balance that?
I'm a failure at balance. It's a work in progress now, but because I'm a single mom, I have, like I said, twin teenage girls, and a business that requires a lot of attention. Some of it is delegating. Some of it is realizing that you can't control everything, that you do your best, and that some stuff is out of your control. And I'm trying to get back into. I just finished a book, which I really loved, but I was
going to ask you about self-development right now, because I know you said that. You know, I know you said self-development's important.
Oh yes, and self-development, always be learning, even if it's through. Like for example, one of my daughters, she spends a lot of time on YouTube, but she watches Crash Course. I don't know if you've ever heard of Crash Course.
I haven't.
It's amazing.
Everybody's shaking their head. Yes,
yeah, Crash Course is really great. So
you guys are holding a lot of stuff from me. They're always like, we're on that stuff too. I'm like,
so not everything on the internet is crap. Okay. But Crash Course, for example, it's a series that I think is John Green, right?
Yeah.
So
Hank.
It's Hank Green,
his brother.
Yeah, his brother. And so they do these series on history and economics and other things, that just find the things that feed you. You know, even if you don't have time to read a book, listen to a podcast in the car, or listen.
Wednesday podcast
Wednesdays,
every single Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. But things that feed you and feed your soul. You know, like for me, I spend a lot of time scrolling through Pinterest, or like liking things or pinning things, or doing crossword puzzles. Now I sound like the world's biggest nerd, but like it's the truth. I am. Give me the crown.
Give me the crown already. Give it to her. Give it to her.
It's just even just taking, half an hour out of your day if you can, just going for a walk, just trying. Like I'm not at all.
So it doesn't even have to be. It doesn't even have to be reading a book. It's just more self-reflection, or just kind of tuning out. You know,
spend time with a friend that you enjoy, and don't talk about work, and just hang out. Mm-hmm. Just try to tell me what you do. I'm looking for advice. It's hard.
Tell me what you do.
It's hard, and especially for me, because cooking and baking and all of this has always been my passion, so it was my hobby. And so my hobby has turned into a business. And so now it's kind of trying to find another hobby. So one of the things that I'm trying to get into is I really love miniatures, and I'm thinking of like trying to do a dollhouse with my girls and like decorate the dollhouse.
That's awesome.
Oh my God, I'm such a dork. Yeah. So you just got to find ways to connect with the people that you care about, even if it's for a small bit, and realize that no matter how much you love your business, and even if it's providing you sustenance in your family, like a way of living, that it's not everything. Like you still have to nurture yourself and your relationships, because mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that's what, that's what a lot of people underestimate when they want the success and they want to have the business that they want. They underestimate how much sacrifice you're also going to have to make. How much balancing you're also going to have to make, you know? So I think with any business, there has to be that balance. And your balance is connecting with the people that you love. And, so that's awesome. My balance is pretty much the same, too. I mean, I feel like I'm working 12 to 14-hour days every single day. And it's sometimes really insane, And for the people that understand, the people that haven't gone, I appreciate you guys. But I mean, it could get very demanding, but having that balance and definitely connecting with the people that you love, spending time with them, even if it's an hour or a day or 15 minutes, a phone call, anything like that is a good way to balance those things. So if you are a business owner or thinking about becoming a business owner, make sure that you also kind of think about that too, the balance and the sacrifice. I know our last interviewee, Israel Leanos.
Hey Israel. I see you at the gym sometimes.
Hey Israel. Israel, shout out to Israel. Podcast episode number 7 is out now on iTunes and YouTube. Make sure you guys check it out. But Israel said it also last week. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh, you're talking about balance.
Balance. He said that the sacrifice that even his family has to make in preparing for competitions is insane because he has to be eating a specific way.
He is so ripped. Like, I can't even. I look at you, Israel, and I'm like, I need some bread. Because I'm like, I am never going to reach your level of fitness, and so I might as well just eat this cake and enjoy my life.
Give me some bread. Give me a bear claw.
Yeah, he's so fit.
Yeah, he is. I mean, shout out Israel. He's doing a lot of big things here in El Paso too. But right now we're doing podcast Whiskey Wednesday podcast session.
Too much whiskey.
Episode number 8 with my guest Maggie
Asfahani.
And right now we're drinking. What is our?
Where is it?
We're mixing it up every single week. Every single week we're drinking a different whiskey. We're featuring a different whiskey, and this week we're featuring Glenmorangie. The sherry cask finish. It's a 12-year, really good. So,
as you can see, we finished the bottle already.
We killed the bottle.
He finished the
Maggie
bottle.
and her club soda. But awesome. It's been a really interesting podcast. We've talked a little bit about entrepreneurship. We talked a little bit about your business, Salt and Honey Bakery and Cafe. For those of you that haven't gone, make sure you guys definitely stop by. Really cool vibe.
Thank you.
Really cool restaurant. You guys have a lot of really good food in there. I haven't tried any baked goods, but honestly, we're probably gonna go right now. Oh, you guys are close! Damn, we're gonna have to eat some pizza. We're gonna have to eat some pizza for sure. But kind of final thoughts. What kind of message do you want our viewers here on iTunes, on YouTube, to kind of leave with? You have an amazing story. I feel like you have so much going on for you. Not only are you a single mother, not only are you an entrepreneur, but you're a business owner. You're also a writer. You have a lot of stuff going for you, and finding that balance, I know has been something that you're still maybe trying to figure out.
Right.
But what final thoughts do you have for our viewers? Somebody that is wanting to start a business, or maybe still just trying to kind of figure it out. What kind of advice do you have for them?
I don't know how to say this in a way that doesn't sound cheesy, but don't give up on your dreams. It may take a while, but if you're really passionate about something, pursue that path and figure out how to make it happen. There will be people who will support you. There will also be people who won't support you, and you have to be okay with that. When you change your way of thinking and you decide to become somebody different and somebody that's more in control of their life and somebody more powerful, there's definitely going to be people who aren't going to stand for that or will fall by the wayside because they think that you've changed or are unrecognizable. But be true to yourself, be true to your passion, and you can't go wrong, honestly. Yeah. I mean, you may stumble along the way. I'm not going to say it's all easy, but but find those people that support you, support yourself, and support your dreams, and just don't give up. Never, like, what does Winston Churchill say? Never give up. Never.
Yeah. And
he also said, when you're going through hell, keep going.
Keep going.
That's another.
Maybe hot.
Yeah, maybe hot.
Maybe hot.
It was today, but
it's really hot today.
You'll get there.
Definitely. So, I mean, this has been a really good podcast. I'm really excited for people to kind of hear your story, hear a little bit more about where you're coming from, where Salt and Honey Bakery and Cafe is coming from, where the concepts come from. I know you're doing a lot of things here in the city that I'm going to have to give you props for, because there's not a lot of people, and I'm going to say this, there's not a lot of people right now that get it or that understand where everything's going. I think right now with the podcast, with the YouTube channel that we have going on, you know, I was influenced by a lot of very influential, successful people to do these podcasts and these vlogs and the content that we're pumping out every single day. But just today I found out that you're actually on that same kind of track. You know, you have your own marketing team. You have,
Hi, Evan. Thank you, Evan. Where's Evan? Evan. Thank you.
So Evan, what does Evan kind of take care of for you? What does he help?
We can ask Evan.
Evan, okay. Tell us what are you helping Maggie out with and Salt and Honey with?
Well, the thing that's like really interesting about working with a place like Salt and Honey, it's not just taking a photo of a bear claw. There's an entire like anyone who's been inside Salt and Honey has felt it. There's like a personality. It's more than just engaging with your audience. You know, she's bringing a new tradition to El Paso. You know, let's make not El Paso great again. That's a little cheesy, but
yeah, get you some red hats.
Yeah, no, she's definitely one of the people right now that's making El Paso. You know, a lot of people want to leave El Paso because they say we don't have this, we don't have that, but definitely Salt and Honey is one of those that, well, Austin doesn't have Salt and Honey, so
yeah, don't.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, you have your own marketing team. You have Evan helping you, and he's helping you with the marketing. And it's not just about taking a picture of a bear claw.
No.
You know, it's about providing the content, letting people know what you guys provide and what you guys are doing. The vibe that you guys provide, like I said, I mean, is insane. It does feel kind of out of town-ish. You know, it feels like you're stepping out of the city. And it's cool because, like you said, you want that to kind of stop. You want people to realize, like, hey, it feels like Austin, but it's here in El Paso. This is an El Paso thing.
It's an El Paso thing, and I think it's very uniquely El Paso, you know. And like Evan was saying, I wanted to represent not just the city, but me as a person, and hope that people respond to it, and they have, for the most part. So I just want to be true to myself and true to my own vision, and of course I care what people think and what they like, but also just want to expose them to something new too that they may not have.
Yeah.
Realized was a thing.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, did you say? Oh, sorry. So cool. I mean, that's really awesome that you know, you guys are getting it. You guys do, even though you're a restaurant, a bakery, cafe, you know, you still have the marketing team behind it, and it's funny to see that, you know, you're doing something similar to what we're doing. The real estate group out here, you know, we're definitely providing content and trying to reach the people, because right now everything's on social media.
Everything is on social media, and that's, I think, a big part of our success has been social media. And maybe when I ask new people who come in, how did you hear about us, a lot of them, I would say at least 80-90% are like, I saw it on my friend's Facebook, or I saw it on Instagram, and that's why it's really important to have marketing and to seek out people who, because everybody is on social media now, it's easy to think like, oh, I can do it. I can post a picture and I can, which you can. But if you want to gain traction and you want to like build a brand, you need to have a professional help you. Thank you, Evan.
Yeah. And I think what you're hitting on right there, and this is like gold nugget for you guys, for restaurant owners, for anybody. Holy fuck. I forgot what I was gonna say. Say what you were saying.
Social media and how important social media is. Somebody take away this mistake.
It's not coming back. It was so good. Okay, so okay, this is what I was gonna say. So one thing that I did learn from a mentor of mine was, with these posts, you know, like you said, a lot of people think that I'm gonna start a business, let me just post a couple pictures and I'll get some traction and I'll sell some. You can sell stuff by just posting a picture. You can get an audience by just posting a picture. Right. But what I think nowadays that's gonna separate businesses that actually succeed to the businesses that may have their win and it may be good and little waves, but aren't gonna have that longevity, is what you're focusing on and what we're focusing on right now is not width, but it's depth. Right. So I think that's the most important thing for any business owner, entrepreneur, is to focus on the depth, not so much of the width. You can have 1,000 likes on a picture, but are these 1,000 people that are liking your photo engaging and actually going to your restaurant? You know. So instead of creating a post and an ad that's going to reach 100,000 people and get 100,000 likes, why not create an ad that's going to reach 10,000 people,
Right.
but it's going to work in depth and it's going to create value and going to give content.
Exactly.
So I think focusing on that depth instead of that width is what's separating you, and what's going to separate, even us. And that's why I'm giving you props, because I feel like you get it. You get the depth part and not so much of the width part.
Well, I'm always learning, and Evan's always educating me on because that's what not everybody knows everything, right? And that's going back to seeking out people who can help you and who are good at the things that you're not good at. Because I can make a really, really good pie, but what do how am I going to let people know? How am I going to let people know about it? So you need to seek out people who can help you and really do your research, because there's a lot of people who, because they think that they can hold a camera and take some pictures, that they're good at social media, and they might be good at like my 15-year-olds are really good at Snapchat, but can they build a brand? I'm not so sure. Maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
But seek out those people that will help you and know what you want. Don't have this approach where you just want everybody, because not everybody's going to be a fan of your product.
Yeah,
and not
exactly.
everybody, and that's okay. You have to be okay with that.
You want to focus on the people that want to buy or want to be attracted to your product.
Right.
You don't want to sell somebody that's not going to be sold, that doesn't want to be sold. That's the worst thing to do. And you're hitting it right on the end, right on the nail. Exactly what you're doing right now is what businesses need to be doing to build that traction, to build that longevity. So
thank you.
I think what you're doing on social media, and how can people follow you actually on social media?
If you want to follow Salt and Honey, it's at Salt and Honey EP. So
that's on Instagram?
That's on Instagram, and then we're also Salt and Honey Bakery Cafe on Facebook. And me personally, my Instagram is really boring, but it's at Maggie Asfahani if you want to.
You guys need to see her last emo post. It was really
my emo post, my Whataburger post. You can look at it and see how.
But yeah, so really excited for people to hear your full episode, Whiskey Wednesday podcast session with Maggie Asfahani. I'm sorry.
It's really long.
There's a lot of A's. There's a lot of A's. But full episode is coming out next Wednesday. Date on next Wednesday is the 14th, 13th?
No,
14th?
it's
16th.
Yes.
16th.
Someday. Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. So May 16th, make sure you guys check out Whiskey Wednesday episode number 8 and hear the full story of Maggie and how, the business came about, a little bit more about her. You guys definitely need to check out Salt and Honey if you haven't been there already. Where can people find Salt and Honey again?
801 North Piedras. It's between Yandell and Montana. Right across from Coconuts.
Any promos, any specials, any days, any specific days for people to look out for?
On the weekends, we tend to have specials on the weekends. Keep an eye out. Like we do sometimes, like last year, we did something for Harry Potter's birthday month. So we had butterbeer lattes and we had birthday cake.
You're such a dork.
I am a dork. I'm sorry. We did we're always
so
doing
cool.
stuff. So that's another thing about what's fun about being a local business is that we don't have to. We can do our own thing. Yeah, we can do our own thing.
Nobody else is getting.
I've been held back a few times because my dorkiness does really shine sometimes, but yeah, it's okay.
That's awesome.
It's okay.
So for all the Harry Potter fans.
All the Harry Potter fans, look forward to July where we have our Harry Potter specials. Change our name to the Leaky Cauldron or something. Stop making fun of me.
Don't forget the hour.
Hours, yeah.
The hours. Okay, so we're closed on Mondays, much to the disappointment of many, but that is one way.
Why is that?
Well, it's one way for me to just have a day off.
That's
honestly,
awesome. Okay.
because it's not worth it to me. You think when you balance, you think, okay, revenue, but I need time off. I have kids, I have things to do, and so I need a day off for myself. And restaurants, especially, they're very consuming and the hours are really long, and so I just need a day to unplug from everything. And so Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday we are open from 7 to 4. The kitchen closes at 2, but we're open for coffee and pastries until 4. Friday and Saturday we are open until 9. That's right. And Sundays we close at 5. I know that's like a lot to just go online and you can see all
Go
that.
online.
Yeah,
or follow them on Instagram.
Yeah, and so that was a big thing, because that was another thing where I give a lot of credit to El Pasoans for for being flexible with us, because our kitchen previously every day closed at 2, and people would just be like waiting outside like we need to eat before the kitchen is closed. Like they didn't, I mean, they would complain a little, but they would still wait. So like thank you guys for waiting. But now we're open later hours so people can come in later. And then we also have beer and wine, coffee, beer and wine. So
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, we do. Beer and wine. And then on the weekends we also have happy hour from 3 to 6. So every half off beer and wine.
Oh, that's awesome.
So did it stop?
Live, but I just didn't get to see it.
And you did that last time, huh?
You know, Andrew called me. Andrew, shout out to Andrew, my photographer. You just killed my live feed on Instagram.
Did that happen last time too? He called you?
Yes, I don't know how to stop these calls from coming in.
It must be you. You can't, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Instagram, you need to figure something out.
Maybe Wi-Fi.
No, well,
Like airplane mode and Wi-Fi.
Well, you
You
can.
can still get calls,
I
no?
don't even think it's that. Oh my god. Oh, okay, well, we're still recording on podcast and on YouTube, but Maggie, again, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
And you know, sharing your story with us, with El Paso, with all the people listening on iTunes and on YouTube. I know, you know, I was really excited to have you on and just kind of listen to your story, because it's not a lot of times where you run into people like yourselves that have that vision, that have that ambition, you know, and that are actually doing it, you know, that are actually doing it and having success in it. So I applaud you and wish you nothing but success for you and you know, your business, Salt and Honey.
Thank you so much.
Closing thoughts. We went over closing thoughts. We went over your story. You guys need to make sure you guys check out the full episode of Whiskey Wednesday podcast sessions coming out on the 16th, next Wednesday. Make sure you guys tune in and also follow Maggie and Salt and Honey on Instagram and Facebook. They're going to be pumping out content over here with their marketing guru right here. Shout out to the Sosas as well for helping out with this podcast. Again, we look forward to bringing you guys so much content and value, interviewing, you know, people like yourselves every single week. I think it's going to be really exciting for us to look back and say, you know, episode number 1000, do a follow up with you and kind of see where the business is at and
like, London is so cold in the winter, but
the cafe Salt and Honey
is so amazing.
Doing great.
You never know.
But I mean, appreciate you and thank you so much for stopping by. And I do wish you so much luck. I mean, I really think that you're doing something special here in El Paso, and thank you so much. So for everybody tuning in, again, make sure that you guys check out the full episode next Wednesday. Episode number 8 with Maggie as she shares her story and a little bit more about Salt and Honey. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. Tune in next Wednesday when we go live with our next guest. I look forward to hearing from you guys as well. See you guys soon.